Hello and welcome to the show, everybody. We have talked about the progressive voice before. The progressive voice is I believe he's 15, and it's impressive. He's got a big following as a 15-year-old. We found that he lives in Chula Vista, California. He lives near a mall, and he works at Cinnabon 3 days a week. And the other 2 days, he spent as the leading intellectual in America and going up against, hey, just Richard Wolff, just a professor of economics that's been doing this profession since he was very young, and he's about 80 years old now. Who do you think has more credibility? The progressive voice, part-time worker at Cinnabon, or Richard Wolff, professor of economics? What is the progressive voice going to say here?
This is actually pretty disappointing. This comes from Professor Richard Wolff. He's a professor of economics. He is widely known as like the most prominent Marxian economist. Now, I'm not a Marxist, not a socialist by any means.
The progressive voice inadvertently gave away the game here, because if you're not a socialist, then you're run-of-the-mill Democrat, and you're in favor of just sprinkles of socialism, very light socialism. That's the difference. So we now know who the progressive voice is. He certainly isn't a progressive, because when they first invented that term, it was invented as a synonym for socialist. You botched this big time, baby.
But I think it's important to actually understand the various ideologies that are being discussed. And I would say 95 to 99.9% of people don't actually know what they're talking about when it comes to left-wing theory or ideology. And I felt like Richard Wolff was able to explain what is rather dense content. Like, if you read like Das Kapital or something like that, it's almost impossible to read, obviously. It's so dense. It's very hard to read. So he was able to kind of convert those kinds of ideas and be more clear about it and explain what it means. Like, Jordan Peterson talking about, employers would be foolish to exploit their workers. But obviously the Marxian, theory of exploitation is simply that whatever workers create in value, they have to be paid less than what they created, because otherwise the capitalist owner can't make a profit. That's what the theory of exploitation is. It's not like it's some mustache twisting dude every week has a board on his fridge saying, how do I exploit my workers this week? That's not what the theory is. So him being able to explain stuff like that is something that's really in a shortage. But this is pretty disappointing, seeing this from him. His own fans seem to go against him on this one because he's just flat out wrong about this. So I did do a video recently about Olaf Scholz, who is the new chancellor over in Germany. And I did a video about how he omitted "So Help Me God" from his swear-in. And so he is now the chancellor in Germany. And Richard Wolff sent out a tweet saying, self-censoring BBC hides new German government led by Socialist Party in his SPD party. S is for socialist. BBC calls him, quote, social democrat. Portugal's coalition government since 2016 too is mostly hidden. Socialist plus communist plus Greens. So, what exactly is Richard trying to paint here? That there's some kind of, the implication here is that there's some kind of agenda against socialists to prevent the accurate news of them being, prominent or gaining power, to keep that away from people. That's what it seems like he's saying. But it's what he's saying is completely wrong. And so he's claiming here that in the SPD party, the S is for socialist. But that's actually not true. You can just look at it, even over on Wikipedia. It's the Social Democratic Party of Germany. And you can see that literally the S stands for Social Democrat. It doesn't stand for socialist. So you can see in German, it says it there. That's Social Democrat. That's not socialist. So this is just immediately provably false.
Excuse me, Mr. Perfect. I guess I forgot that you never ever make a mistake.